Good evening. It is 7:03 on April 26, 2022. Welcome to the San Marino Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Here is your board president, Mrs. Namjack.
Thank you, Dr. Choi. We are going to report out with respect to closed session.
Yes, and thank you, President Jack, members of the Board of Education. There was no action taken on the appointment of our new elementary principals, as that was an item that appropriately belongs in open session. These new principals that I will be introducing this evening were selected by a committee of stakeholders, both from Valentine and Carver Elementary Schools, in addition to them being brought forward by the stakeholder panels and interviewed by the executive committee, which was comprised of Dr. Michael Lynn as our incoming CBO, Dr. Steve Choi. Oh no, Steve, I'm sorry. I take that back. He was out ill that day, so he is excused from that process. Dr. Lynna Richter, our Director of Educational Services, and myself. And Judy Corenti, our HR coordinator. So we basically affirmed that these individuals were the best candidates, and I will be talking and speaking to that issue during the superintendent's comments. But hiring of principals is ultimately the superintendent's decision, and the board supports that, but they do not make that decision. It is the superintendent.
All right, thank you very much. Pledge of Allegiance. Absolutely.
Thank you, President Jack. Tonight, we have the honor of bringing to the Board of Education, Reed Raleigh, to lead the board in the flag salute tonight. Reed comes to us from Carver Elementary. He is the Spring Student Council member.
Good evening, Superintendent De La Torre, distinguished board members, and all those in attendance. My name is Reed Raleigh, and I'm a 5th grade pioneer at Carver Elementary. I am joined here by my family. I'm here tonight because I'm the current Spring Student Council president representing Carver. Leadership is an important part of my life. Leadership is so important because a leader is someone who can see how things can be improved and who rallies people to move towards a certain vision or goal. That's why I chose to run for Student Council President for Carver. My work as president started as we prepared for the Carver Carnival. I helped set up the book nook by sorting out many books. I also cleaned out boxes for the ticket booth. The Carver Carnival took place this past Saturday, April 23rd, and it was a raving success. My entire body is covered in silly string. It felt so good to have our carnival back. You've heard of the Carver Carnival, but what's the cereal drive? Part of being on student council is to provide service to our community. You may not believe it, but we are gearing up for our spring drive called Seriously the Best Drive. And we will be donating cereal boxes to our neighbors in Pasadena at the food pantry called Friends Indeed. Before we donate them, though, we'll be using our STEM skills into creating a giant domino line made up of all of the collected boxes. I know that we'll reach our goal of 1,000 boxes in an instant and create the greatest chain reaction ever. At the end, we hope to create a Rube Goldberg machine. We are so determined to create this that we will be pulled out of class to lay all of the boxes out. And then we'll invite the entire school to watch as our boxes fall through the halls of Carver. Today, as I welcome you to the award-winning San Marino Unified School District Board meeting, I'd like to pay respect to our country and our flag. Please join us as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. We sing quite respectfully. Face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you.
So Reed, we would like to thank you for that wonderful presentation that you just gave. Thank you so much. And we would like to present you with the certificate. And if you don't mind, we'd like to take a photograph up here at the center of the room with the board of presidents. And your parents can be in this photo as well. Okay. Great. I have no doubt we're going to be successful.
Dr. Lynn, you seem to have success after success, superstar after superstar.
Yes. Thank you.
You're
Have a lovely
welcome. Have a
evening.
great evening. All right, we're now at item 6B, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second, thank you. All right, roll call vote. Mr. Kalaki,
Aye.
Mr. Chang,
Aye.
Ms. Chan. Aye. Ms. Ryan,
Aye.
student board member. Aye. Namjack, aye. Motion passes. Now we go to item 6C, approval of minutes. There are two sets of minutes. So the first one is March 18th, the special board meeting. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda? To approve the minutes, sorry.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. A second, please.
I'd like to second the March 18th special board meeting minutes.
Mrs. Ryan, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Mrs. Chan? Aye. Mr. Chang?
Aye.
Mr. Kalaki?
Aye.
Namjack, aye. Student board member?
Aye.
All right, now approval of the March 21st regular board meeting minutes. Could I have a motion, please?
I just have one
Sure, of
question.
course.
I noticed on item 11D, at the end of the discussion on that item, there was an indication that the matter would come back before the board regarding modifying the contract language. And so I wanted to request that that indication be noted in the minutes.
Okay, it's not indicated in the minutes.
It does indicate that a board member recommended changing the language, but I did not see a reference that there was discussion by the board requesting that it come back before the board. for
Would you like
further consideration.
to make a motion to amend the board minutes to reflect
Sure,
that?
I would move to approve the board minutes for March 21st with the modification for item 11D, that there was further discussion with the board that the item would come back before the board on a future agenda item for modifying the contract language.
All right. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. With that being said, I'm sorry, could we go back? Who, did someone make a motion to approve?
I just,
He just did those.
All right,
with the
thank you.
amendment.
Okay, thank you. Would someone make a second?
Second.
All right, Mrs. Chan. All right, roll call vote. Mr. Kalaki,
Aye.
Mr. Chang,
Aye.
Mrs. Chan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Namjack, aye. Student board member. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, now we're at to 7A, San Marino Unified School District Student Spotlight, San Marino High School and Huntington Middle School Choir Recognition. We will recognize both choirs for receiving the Gold Awards at the Forum Music Festival. Mr. Jamison. Hello, Mr. Jamison. We're waiting for you. All right.
Come on, you guys. And that's too far, maybe too far, so maybe over here. And then go ahead and face our school board.
Okay.
So thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the board on behalf of all my singers from Huntington Middle School and San Marino High School for inviting us here tonight. We appreciate the honor of being recognized. Good evening, everyone. Friday, April 15th, every singer from the choirs at Huntington Middle School and San Marino High School all traveled to Fullerton to sing in the Forum Music Festival, where I'm happy to say that each choir that performed scored in the top 10% of all choirs based on a national scale. So in short, we all got gold ratings, and that means we did really well. Basically, we have music teachers have long equated these festivals to the music version of the CASP test, where we show up, we leave the notes at home. It's a closed book test, and we get graded on basically technique, the difficulty of the repertoire we're singing, foreign language music, balance, blend, the whole gamut of the choral art. And every group excelled. And I, as their director, am so proud of all of them. And I've invited a few students from each ensemble here, and you can see that they have brought their plaques with them. In addition to some outstanding ensemble scores, each choir also had a soloist that was featured in one of the songs that the choir sang. And all three of those soloists, in addition, received solo awards for outstanding musicianship and voice. Alo Gorham, Sabrina Garcia, and Nash Wong were each featured individually in addition to the choir. So we congratulate them as well. So just in closing, again, I want to say thank you for the recognition. Coming out of COVID, choirs everywhere. I know I'm in a lot of support groups for choirs and directors who have really struggled coming out of COVID, because when you can't hear each other, you can't really do choir. So the fact that we have come where we are now is a testament to how hard these students have worked, their love of music, and just getting back out there in front of a judge, in front of other choirs, in front of audiences has just been a blast. So I want to thank all of my students, as well as our parent chaperones that made that trip a success. And we have some of them here tonight. So. So once again, thank you for having us.
So, Mr. Jameson, we have a certificate to present to you, and then of course we would like to take a photograph with the entire board and your choir students. So we're presenting this to you, and we are so proud of all of you and the work that you have done on the choir, and bringing that gold back to Huntington Middle School is just so awesome. So thank you so much, and thank you for your expertise and your guidance. These students really do enjoy their experience in choir, and we couldn't do it without you, so thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll get the Board of Education to come in, and we'll take a photograph and get you guys out of the way.
Two rows. All right, here we go. Everybody look here. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Congratulations. Is everybody else have a-
Great job.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to go to number 8 on the agenda, public comments. The Board of Education has adopted Board Policy 9323B to ensure the public's right to be heard in any matters pertaining to the district. Persons who wish to provide public comment will have three options to submit public comments. One, submit through an online form, request to speak during the meeting via Zoom, request to speak during the meeting in person via the public comment card. Submit through an online form. The public may submit public comments for the open or closed session today from 11 a.m. through 3:30. Comments received during this time will not be read during the meeting, but will be provided to the board. Please submit comments at https://bit.ly/BOE042622. It's my understanding that there were no public comments as of 3:30 today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, now request to speak during the meeting via Zoom. During public comment, the meeting will pause for 1 minute, take requests to speak. The raise hand function is used to take requests during the public comment period. For online attendees, press the raise hand icon to add yourself to the queue. For phone attendees, dial *9. The speaking order will be determined based on the order of requests received. Individual speakers will be unmuted and called to speak.
Thank you, President Jack. We're pausing for 1 minute to take requests to speak regarding matters that are not on the agenda. If you would like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon or dial *9 or submit a public comment card. We have 30 seconds remaining. Again, if you'd like to make a request to speak regarding matters that are not on the agenda, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Okay, President Jack, we have one request via Zoom
For a matter,
for matters that are not on the agenda. Okay, we have San Marino Teachers Association. Your line is now open for matters that are not on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Delatorre, and those attending tonight's meeting. I am speaking to you tonight, and my comments have to do with dual immersion. In so many ways and in so many levels, our district is not ready to roll out a dual immersion program. I speak to you as one who is multilingual, multicultural, and one who is definitely interested in creating a successful dual immersion program at SMUSD. Under the direction of then Assistant Superintendent of Instruction, Gary McGuigan, and under the direction of the board, which many of you were part of then, I represented our district at the Los Angeles County of Education meetings that all pertained to creating a dual immersion program. The committee was composed of a variety of bilingual teachers, and we had administrators and some who were familiar with dual immersion because they had worked in districts where it was implemented. I headed the committee, and we provided the board with an in-depth report of how we could roll out a program. At the time, the program was not approved due to a lack of funds. If we had been given the go, we could have planned for an incredible program. I have binders of protocol and strategies and resources. After speaking to Dr. Delatorre this week, I learned that the district has every intention of rolling out a dual immersion program. As on EdJoin, a position has already been posted without having first bargained anything with SMTA, but that is not why I am addressing you this evening. I am addressing the board because I want this. Everyone who understands what dual immersion is and the preparation needed to roll out an effective program understands that we can't go by the seat of our pants and put something in place in the fall. We are San Marino Unified. We do quality work. We do professional work. We are prepared at every level. We are not prepared. I want us to have a dual immersion program. I also want us to be successful. Many districts around us started programs. Some were more successful than others, but I can guarantee 100% that those programs that were not as successful or were at sites where it didn't roll out successfully were those that were unprepared. We do not have a curriculum. We do not have resources ready. We do not have contracts with helps. We are not prepared to present materials to parents. We are not preparing the staff to be part of the whole process by creating opportunities for dual
1
literacy.
minute remaining.
We're not ready. I'm not saying let's not do it. I'm saying let's do it right. If you are a professional, you know the things that pertain to your profession and how important it is to do things right. I am a professional. I'm trilingual. I'm bilingual. I'm multicultural. I'm an educator with more than 25 years of experience. We're doing it wrong. Please listen, be humble, do it right, and we can all win. Thank you.
And that concludes our requests to speak.
Thank you. Request to speak during the meeting in person via the public comment card. Please complete the public comment card and submit the completed card to the designated drop box with the assistant to the superintendent no later than when the agenda section, items not on the agenda, consent information or action is called by the board president. Opportunities for public comment are offered prior to closed session at the start of the regular open session for items not on the agenda and prior to the consent information action items for matters on the agenda. The board reserves the right to add a public comment period prior to any individual item on the agenda. 5 minutes may be allotted to each speaker and a maximum 20 minutes to each subject matter. However, in the event there are more than 4 speakers on the same subject matter, the board president retains the discretion to adjust and limit the time allocated to each speaker to ensure that all wishing to speak will be heard within the 20-minute allotment. Are there any public comment cards? Thank you. 8A, communications from the audience regarding matters not on the agenda already been made at this time.
We completed the items that are not on the agenda, and we are prepared to do items in consent.
Thank you. Communications from the audience regarding matters on the consent agenda are to be made at this time.
Okay, thank you, President Jack. We'll pause again for 1 minute to take requests to speak regarding matters in the consent section. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Thirty seconds remain. If you'd like to make a request to speak regarding matters in the consent section, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Okay, we have no requests to speak.
All right, thank you. Let's see, now we go to item number 9, the consent section. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent section, the matters on the consent section?
Can
I'd
I
like
just
to,
ask-
go ahead.
I was just going to ask
Sure.
one question on item 9G,
Yes,
the multi-day field trip.
yes.
And this may have already been handled, but I just, in the materials that I received, there was a small question. On the statement of acknowledgement and consent conditions of trip, I see that document was for Morris Bird, but I didn't have a signature from Mr. Bird on that. Was that signed?
I defer to Jennifer Delatorre to respond to that.
Okay, so
I mean, the principal signed off on it, so I assume that it has gone through the proper channels. The principal would not have signed off on it if it was not presented to Morrisburg.
well, and it may have been presented, but it's not signed by Morris.
We can
Bird.
get a signature on that and get it back to you.
Okay.
No problem. Delatorre, will you handle that? Thank you.
And this is a trip that already occurred, correct?
Yes.
The date that I
Yes.
saw was March of 2022. Okay. So I just would want to make sure that that was in fact signed, you know, those
Yeah.
types of things are signed prior to the trip.
Of course. Thank you.
So in light of Mr. Kalaki's comments at our next board meeting, could you provide us an update that it was signed?
Yes,
All right,
of
great.
course.
Mr. Chang?
Okay, so with add the signature on the 9, yeah, 9G, yes. So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda 9A to 9G.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Chan. Roll call vote, Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Chan. Aye. Mr. Chang,
Aye.
Mr. Kalaki,
Aye.
Nam Jack, I, student board member.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, now we go to the communication section. Communications from the board. We'll start with Mr. Kalaki.
So we definitely had a great, well-deserved spring break for all of our staff and our students, which I know that many people needed that break. Since our last meeting, I did attend the spring concert, which was a wonderful opportunity to hear from our students, and it was a great evening. And I just wanted to take a moment in a time of the year when it can be very stressful for students, particularly our seniors and their families, about anticipation of what is going to happen in the future, in their children's futures. And I've spent some time thinking back about the education that the children are receiving in our district, back to the very early years. And I just wanted to say that I do feel very comfortable that our team, our teachers, our staff, and our students in our community all have put a tremendous amount of time into preparing our students for their futures. And no matter what their plans are, no matter where they will be going next year, I do feel comfortable that there's going to be a lot of very well-prepared students. And I wanted to thank our staff and our teachers and everybody in the district for everything they did to contribute to that.
Thank you, Mr. Kalaki. Mr. Chang?
On the March 23rd, that's the Founder Day. First of all, I like to appreciate, I think including the name check, I like to appreciate all of your support and encouragement as I am named as a recipient of a Founder Day. I think this is a big encouragement to me because last Founder Day I got this award is a year of 2001. So after 20 years, so get the second award. Yeah, thank you. And March 26th, Saturday, high school have a art rock So I see our high school student, they can prepare to show their achievement in the performance art. So that's good. And then March 30, I attend the high school and the middle school spring music at the Marino High School auditorium. March 31st, early morning, I attend a Valentine spring music program. It's good to see all the kids, after COVID-19 2 years. Yeah, they are very lovely. I heard the song very, very touched. Yeah. April 13, I attend a Zoom conference. It was hosted by the USC Chem Medicine Department of Population Health. So they invited Dr. Farrell, the LA County Public Health Department, to talk about what's going on after COVID-19 stage. So I think it's very good for those graphic. Yeah, so really can teach what happened for last 2 years. So I will share with our compliance officer, Stephen Choi. Yeah. And then April 21st, Valentine open house. So it's great, also after COVID-19, you see the open house, yeah, and very colorful, I see the last 2 years, I think the kids are holding their achievement, and then, they come out all kind of the artwork, yeah. I take a lot of pictures. I think that this is a real collection, yeah. And then last Saturday, we have a cover carnival. Thank you for Dr. Lin. I think this is your last one. So it's great. So and thank you for all the PTA people here. Yeah. So also after COVID-19 stage, see we can have a outdoor activity. That's great. Finally, I want to introduce the program, live opera, will host at the Huntington Library. The reason I recommend this because this event will last for 3 weeks every weekend. The difference because this time the live opera hosted by LA Opera, but they also invite our high school, middle school students to participate. So we have, I think, several young musicians to participate. We should have more because I know the May we have a AP test. So some they did not, finally they did not commit to participate. So if you need this program, I can put in the Jennifer, yeah. I think this another meaning for this event because the month of May is API as immigrant celebration. So this the story is the first the Chinese immigrant, they come to LA Chinatown. So then they go through the 100 years, the story. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. Mrs. John?
Thank you. Well, so we had spring break really this week, a couple weeks ago, and everything's kind of flying by really quickly. So before that as well, I attended Founders Day and Arts Rock in the concert choir. Valentine's music program, tomorrow's music program will be at Carver. So exciting for the TK2, and then we'll have in a couple of weeks, 3 to 5. It's so amazing and so awesome to be able to watch the kids sing again in person. They're so incredibly cute. It's just amazing. And then also open house at Carver and Valentine, attended those as well. And again, just so fun to see all of the kids and the parents mingling again and seeing all of the work their kids have been doing in the classroom. At the high school, participated in some mock interviews with our juniors. And the Titan Night, which was organized by ASB, they had a food truck and the seniors were able to get some food, and they saw our student board member over there. And it was just a great night where the kids were able to perform for each other and just have a night off to just relax. As well, this morning, I was able to attend the signing day with Carolyn Lichman, who will be going to ASU Sun Devils for gymnastics. So that's a long journey that culminated in this big achievement. There were PTA meetings and PTSA meetings. And again, so great to have all of those things in person again, because it's not just about being able to be in a meeting and pay attention to it, where you're not trying to multitask and do 3 other things at the same time. But it's being able to make those connections again with family and friends, and from everything from, oh, you need some volunteers for teacher appreciation next week. Let me know, I'll send some emails out, all the way to what are you eating for dinner tonight? And, and it's just sharing those things that are really nice to be able to be back together again. And then we also have Dance Central this weekend, which is at the high school. So really excited for that. And I wanted to just take a second to say thank you to the community for their open and respectful dialogue with our leadership. We've had a lot going on this year. And I am so incredibly proud of our community, because everybody felt like they could express themselves. And I think learning how to dialogue respectfully and with a sense of, I think, justice and a sense of grace towards one another was something that everybody has been exhibiting this year. And it's just been amazing for me to be able to see that and hear what people are saying. I think it gives us an opportunity to really express trust with intention towards one another. And as we look at new leadership, being able to really be intentional in our trust is something that I'm really looking forward to in the future. And one last note, kind of a piggybacking on Mr. Klacky's comments with the students who are looking at their college plans. I just want to say a huge thank you to our high school. They created so many opportunities for our students the last few years that have been so incredibly trying. And the kids had the opportunity to really step up and step into their roles at the high school. And that allowed them to really shine and to find out who they are, to present themselves to their college admissions officers. And I think we've seen some outcomes with this class that range from PCC to other city colleges to UCs and Cal States and Ivies and privates from here to the East Coast. And it truly was because of the work done at our high schools by our teachers and our counselors and our staff to support our students above and beyond, always, and with so much heart. And I'm so incredibly grateful to our high school staff and teachers for that. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Mrs. Chang. Mrs. Ryan?
Thank you. I'd like to keep my comments short. I've attended a number of meetings with the PISMA, Asian Pacific Islander School Board Members Association, and with the support of my President Jack, and Mr. C. Joseph Chang, we were able and instrumental in putting programs together. This Friday, we're going to have a mixer at the Huntington Library, which will be very exciting. Next, I want to congratulate Mr. Chang and President Jack on their award for PTA Founders Day Award. This is not only a culmination of a difficult year, but is one with lots of challenges, but through your leadership, our board did really well in terms of leading the school district. And I want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Delatorre, and Lena and Stephen for all your support, because I don't think the board can do what we need to do without your support. And so thank you so much for that. City Club, I attended the City Club meeting with Caltech's Professor John Goetzinger, and he was phenomenal. He talked about the Mars rover Curiosity and the landing. I thought that was inspirational. I hope he lives here in San Marino, so we need to look at him for our college career day. And finally, Valentine, is Alana still here? Alana, thank you for the Valentine Open House. It was exceptional. You just see the quality of there she is, okay, quality of teachers and all of the support staff, as well as the leadership team that Dr. Linda Delatorre has put together. So thank you for that. And thank you to the community for all of your support, because without all of you, we would not be San Marino.
Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. I will also keep mine short. I would like to thank PTA Council, and we have our PTA Council president here, Catherine Oliveros, for a wonderful Founders Day. There are many very deserving people who got an award, including Becky Watlington, who is here with her children. So thank you very much for all that you do. I think at every event you try and learn something. And what I think I learned from Founders Day is that there is an extraordinary number of people who love K-dramas. So that is my takeaway from that. And I just want you to know that when Mitch Lehman, our Tribune editor, was talking and asking people about who liked K-dramas, I turned to my husband and I said, if you tell them I like K-dramas, I'm going to kill you. But then Mitch asked me the question, so what could I say? Anyway, so if anyone would like a list of the best ones. All right. The next thing that we did is Superintendent Delatorre and I attended the foundation meeting where they elected the new board for next year. So I would like to congratulate and thank Erin Belvato, our past president of the foundation, who did an incredibly wonderful job. And she will be passing the baton on to Allison Moeller and her board, who will be taking on the helm. I would like to say, and very briefly, like everybody else, it takes a village in order to have this district be what it is, which is an extraordinarily successful one, whether you're talking about our elementary school, our middle school, or our high school. So from the depth and breadth of the talent that we have, whether it is certificated teachers, classified staff, principals, assistant principals, our administration, our superintendent Delatorre, Lena, and Stephen, and especially our parents and our children, without whom, right, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I would like to give a big shout out and to thank everyone, and then also to pass the baton on to one of our excellent students, our student board member, Catherine. Okay. I've been watching too many K-dramas. I apologize.
Since the last school board meeting, the middle school had their move up day assembly where the high school showcased all that we had to offer to their 8th graders, where we had skits from drama, choir performance, robotics, color guard, drumline, deco, cheer, and more. We played games and threw them SM shirts. And after, I went to a Starbucks and I ran into an 8th grader who said how much she wanted to join drama. So I don't know if she said that because she recognized me or if she actually wanted to let me know. The high school is currently hosting a orphanage drive for the next 2 weeks. It's for the Santa Teresita Orphanage. We've been their sole supporters since 1952, and they usually come up every year, but because of COVID, they couldn't last year. So we're holding that orphanage drive, and I don't know if there's any high schoolers watching this meeting, but if you're watching, please ask your homeroom teacher what your donation item is, and please donate because they need our support. Last Saturday, we had our prom at the Yost Theater in Santa Ana, and that was really fun. I'd like to thank the junior class cabinet and advisors for planning that. And lastly, the SMHS DCO presents Dance Department presents Dance Cetra. on April 28th to the 30th at 7 p.m. in the Nair Auditorium. Also, you won't want to miss Dancing with the Teachers. It's starring Mr. Barton, Mrs. Garcia, Mr. Adam, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Hiranaka, and Miss Robin as they compete for audience votes and a mirror ball trophy on Thursday, April 28th. Tickets are $5 for students and $10 for adults.
Thank you, Karen. Also, I think on behalf of the board, and I know that we're almost coming to the end of the year. So I want to thank on behalf of the board, the fact that you are here at every one of our meetings and you do
Thank
so with
you.
a smile. So much positive energy, and I know sometimes it can drag on, and so we apologize. But, you know, and I'm sure you find every moment scintillating, but because of that, we really appreciate, right, your time and dedication to coming to our board meetings. So, and being part of a wonderful participant and a wonderful student. So thank you very much. All right, now communication from the superintendent, Dr. Delatorre.
Thank you, President Jack, members of the Board of Education, student board member, and executive team. This evening, I have some special announcements to make and some introductions to provide to the Board of Education. And I'd like to just start, before I get into that, with echoing what everyone has said about a hearty congratulations to those who were recognized at our Founders Day event. It's such a wonderful opportunity to recognize people who really go above and beyond and make a difference in our community. And so, of course, Mr. C. Joseph Chang, who has been an outstanding public servant in this community and elected official, he has really stepped up during COVID and has helped connect us to all the right people and all the right resources to really help make sure that our community remains safe. So thank you so much, Mr. Chang, and congratulations on your recognition. President Jack, you have been a wonderful advocate for students throughout your career and tenure on the Board of Education, and you have volunteered in every possible position known to man. So thank you so much for all that you have done and all that you continue to do. Your recognition was well deserved. Becky Watlington, who's sitting over there with her handsome young men, congratulations to you. You have been a stellar volunteer, and all the work that you have done at Carver Elementary has really made a difference in support of that school. So thank you for what all you have done and all you continue to do. So thank you so much. I would like to congratulate Judy Corenti on becoming a Director of Human Resources. So Judy, will you please stand for a moment? Corenti came to our school district with 18 years of experience in human resources from San Gabriel Unified School District. She worked at El Monte City for a couple years, 2 years? One short year. Yes, before we recruited her to San Marino Unified School District, and Judy hit the ground running. She has literally taken on every assignment I've given to her. And when I took over for Julie Boucher, who retired in January of 2020, I needed Judy to step up and perform all kinds of tasks and take over responsibilities that she had never had experience in before. She rose to the occasion and did an outstanding job and has done some heavy lifting in the Human Resources Department when I wasn't able to be there. And I just want to thank her for her work ethic and her willingness to go above and beyond, even when you weren't compensated for doing so. So congratulations on your appointment to the position of Director of Human Resources. Thank you. Mr. Gil Cardenas, stand.
Go Gil.
Cardenas has been promoted to the position of Director of Maintenance and Operations. For the past 2 years, he has been performing both the maintenance manager job and the director position. When we had some budget issues, we needed to eliminate the position of director. And he has taken on both responsibilities and done just an outstanding job. Everything that the district has asked him to do, he has gone above and beyond, and he's done that with a smile and a sense of humor. Mr. Cardenas has worked for this district since 1987. His
Wow.
father worked for the school district prior to that and retired from San Marino Unified School District. And his father was a wonderful asset to the school district and the maintenance and operations department. So Mr. Cardenas, I want to personally thank you for taking on a tremendous amount of responsibility and doing it again with a smile and a sense of humor. And thank you so much for all that you do for this school district and continue to do. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, so next I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing to the Board of Education our new elementary school principals, and I'm going to start with Mr. Stuart Caldwell, if you'll come to the podium. Mr. Caldwell? Absolutely. So Mr. Caldwell was selected by a committee of Carver stakeholders, certificated and classified, and also a principal representative, as their top candidate for the position of principal at Carver Elementary School. That decision was affirmed by the executive team during a final interview. Mr. Caldwell is currently serving as principal of Woodworth Monroe, which is a TK through 8th grade school in Inglewood Unified School District, which he actually helped to put together 3 years ago. Mr. Stewart has a bachelor's degree in social science from Chapman University. He holds a master's degree in special education, and he earned his Juris Doctorate in law from Chapman University School of Law. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Stuart Caldwell to San Marino Unified School District.
Thank you very much, Dr. De La Torre, to our esteemed board. I so much look forward to learning about our district, our students. I'm hearing and seeing wonderful things, and there's some Carver parents over the court. The energy is just palpable every moment, and I'm just honored to be part of helping us to continue the great things that are already happening at Carver and to continue to be positive influence here in San Marino. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. Mr. Caldwell, is your family here?
They are.
Would you like to introduce them?
I would. So my wonderful wife, Brianna, my daughter, Avery, who is a sophomore at Chapman University, following in her parents' footsteps, and my good friend, Mr. Simonia.
Thank you for being here. So much. Next, I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing our Valentine Elementary School principal, Mrs. Whitney McAlpine. Please come to the podium, Whitney. Whitney was selected by a committee of Valentine stakeholders as their top candidate for the position of Valentine Elementary School principal. And the decision was, of course, affirmed by the executive team during a final interview. Mrs. McAlpine is currently serving as an assistant principal at Mesa View Elementary School in Riverside County. She holds a bachelor's degree in liberal studies from the University of Laverne, a master's degree in educational leadership from University of Laverne, and she has expertise and credentials in special education. Most importantly, she attended Carver Elementary School as a young student, and we heard this. Dr. Lynn served on the finalist panel, and he learned this information immediately, went back to the school and looked at the 5th grade banner to see if her name was there, and he found it, of course, and so he took a picture of it and he sent it to the executive team so we could see that your signature was on that 5th grade banner. I believed you, he did. I'm kidding. So we want to congratulate you and welcome you to San Marino Unified School District. So if you'd like to say a few words.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. De La Torre, President Jack, and the Board of Education. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I am beyond excited to be at Valentine Elementary to build relationships with the students, the staff, and our community. So thank you for all of this.
Thank you so much and welcome to the school district. Okay, And just a few more things. I wanted to mention, I did attend the Carver Carnival. It was a tremendous success. It was so wonderful to see all of those parents and students out there having a blast. And yes, Silly String was everywhere. It was littered. I just apologize to the custodians in advance because it was really bad, but it was great. Everybody had a good time. On Sunday, I went to the fundraiser for Little League, and they had a chili cook-off. And the chili was absolutely to die for. It was so delicious. And lots of children attended. Jennifer Wheeler was there. Her son is in Little League. It was just a great opportunity for families and students to come out and support Little League. And then last night, I had the pleasure of attending the Titan Golf dinner, and that was well attended also. And it was just a beautiful day for our parents and community to be out on the golf course doing what they love. And so it's great to see people coming together and really supporting our schools. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we speak on behalf of the board that we are so excited to have our new principals at Carver and Valentine. And also so lucky are we, right, that we have Dr. Lynn and Principal Foray here as part of the welcoming committee for our new principals. So we're excited to see what you both will bring in terms of adding to our treasury community. So thank you very, very, very much. All right, now we go to item number 11, communications from the audience regarding matters on the information agenda are to be made at this time.
Thank you, President Jack. We're pausing for 1 minute to take requests to speak regarding matters in the information items section of the agenda. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Thirty seconds remain. If you'd like to make a request to speak regarding matters in the information items section of the agenda, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. President Jack, we have one request.
All right, so it is a request with respect to a matter on the information agenda, I'm assuming?
Correct. I will remind the speaker.
All right, thank you.
Okay, San Marino Teachers Association, your line is now open to speak in regards to information items on the agenda.
Thank you. I would like to say something about the proclamation for the California Day of the Teacher. First off, I would very much like to thank two of our board members. I love hearing all the wonderful things that people are engaged in, but music to my ears are when a board member, and in this case, two of our board members, recognize the hard work of our teachers and actually say, they did a great job and we thank them. That is music to my ears because I know how it is received by our staff. Our staff truly goes above and beyond, and we can do so with the incredible support that we receive from our very much loved and appreciated parents, our foundation leadership, and all those who work so hard to make things right at the level where it counts, in the classroom and on campus. Thank you for your words. Day of the Teacher is coming soon, and I've attended board meetings for the last 6 years. And in those 6 years, I've seen once a paper copied on a copy machine, not signed, and on the spur of the moment, the SMTA president asked to stand up and pose for a picture. please, we have Founders Day, we have banquets and parties where people are celebrated. Day of the Teacher is when the board and our superintendent can publicly acknowledge the incredible work our teachers do. It would be wonderful to have more than a passing comment, as well-intentioned as it is. Let us please always remember who is important, our students. When a teacher is absent, we can have a substitute, but parents know it's not the same. Kids know it's not the same. And teachers know it's not the same because we have to go back and fill in the gaps. Teachers, not programs, are what make a student's academic year successful. We know the ins and outs. We are vital. Please, we so appreciate all the wonderful things you do for us. But even in these little areas, these things count. An acknowledgement of who the teachers of the year were. I bet none of you know. I bet none of you can recall. And that's probably because we don't pay enough attention at that ground level. We do so many things that are right. I just ask that we balance it a little more and give our accolades to teachers in the setting that they too deserve. We don't bring in, we don't walk in the same circles, but we're down where it counts, sustaining and growing little people and helping young adults get ready for an incredible new adventure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for what you do. And I hope that we can do a little more to remember the other important stakeholder, those who choose to serve our children.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you so much.
All right, we are now at item number 12, procedural item proclamation number 1, California Day of the Teacher. Will be presented to the board by Mrs. Judy Corenti.
Thank you, President Jack, members of the board, student board member, Superintendent Dr. De La Torre, and executive team. It's my pleasure to present this proclamation for California Day of the Teacher, which will be celebrated on May 11th to honor the committed professionals of the San Marino Unified School District. We would like to acknowledge our teachers for their dedicated work each day, which includes designing meaningful lessons, providing feedback to students, and engaging with our parents and families. We would like to acknowledge our school psychologists, speech and language pathologists, district nurse, and counselors for their continuous and caring support of our students. We would like to thank all San Marino Unified certificated employees for sharing their expertise each day to inspire both academic, lifelong learning, and social emotional learning for the students of the San Marino Unified School District. The district is planning a celebration and recognition to honor these incredible and dedicated employees. So this is an information item. We do have a proclamation for President Jack and Dr. De La Torre to sign for this proclamation, and we will present it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So now we come to 12B, proclamation number 2, California School Employees Association, week May 15th through 2022, will be presented to the board by Ms. Judy Corenti.
Hi again. President Jack, members of the board, student board member, Dr. De La Torre, and executive team. I am also pleased to present the Classified School Employee Week, which will be celebrated during the week of May 15th. Classified employees support the education of our students by managing the front offices, serving lunches, keeping our school grounds maintained, by processing payroll for all of our employees, and making sure our technology continues to function. Without the dedication of our support staff, our schools could not operate properly, and we would not be able to provide the safe and clean learning spaces for students. So we would like to thank all the classified employees of our district for their important contributions. The district is also planning a celebration and recognition to honor these incredible and dedicated employees as well.
All right, do we know what the celebration and recognition will be for the California Day of the Teacher and CSEA?
So what we have done in the past is we provided a Subway lunch through food services for all of our employees. We have done cakes for each of the schools. We're putting that together right now. We're working with our current director of food services to provide lunch for employees, but we're probably going to do something other than Subway this year. Want to shake things up a little bit. But we do want to express our sincerest gratitude for all of the work that certificated and classified employees do on behalf of our students. So we're looking for ways to make it very special. We have a lot of ideas and concepts, and we're working on that right now.
All right, well, so we're looking forward to hearing what they are, and you know, we'd love to see photos as well.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, communications from the audience regarding matters on the action agenda are to be made at this time.
Okay, thank you, President Jack. Again, we'll pause for 1 minute to take requests to speak regarding matters in the action items section of the agenda. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Thirty seconds remain. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. Okay, President Jack, we have no requests.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we go to the action items. Item number 14A, Huntington Middle School revised instructional minutes. It's an action item. Huntington Middle School is requesting board approval on revised instructional minutes. Principal Topalian, your turn.
Good evening, Board President Jack, board members, student board member, executive team, and our superintendent, Dr. Linda Delatorre. The purpose of the revised schedule is as we, as a staff, come together and we look at our students and we look at where we're at and we look at the up and coming high stakes of our CAS testing. We recognize that the importance of our kids being back into the learning environment and being back in the classroom in the appropriate place to test, opposed to in the past year and a half where we have been in the virtual academy and the virtual learning environment, being at home. We feel it's best as we keep the high stakes of this test, as well as keeping as top as a national blue ribbon school, to put our students and our staff in the best environment. So as you know, as a school, you always want to be on top of the mountain, right? You want to be the #1 in the state and the district. And I think Huntington Middle School has proven that by the quality of teaching and instructional strategies our teachers have put forth, and them being our teachers who do an outstanding job each day, listening to them in our staff meetings and talking about how we want to look at our testing schedule. Feel this is best to give quality instruction, not so much looking at our minutes, but looking at the best that we can do with our students after they've taken this test. And so we know that it's an abbreviated version. However, we know the importance that it is for not only our students, but for our staff, but for our district. And we feel to maximize the best out of our students, as well as the instructional strategies with our staff, that this is the schedule I'd like to propose. Many of you already have the schedule that looks at where it's the 45-minute blocks of instruction for the 3 periods, and it would be really an early dismissal opposed to a minimum day. That means that we would be dismissed at 1 o'clock, 3 of the 4 days of testing. 1 day would be 1:30 because of the performance task test for ELA. And then during that time, it would allow our teachers to #1, breathe a little bit, but also as well as jump into some training. As you know, we have an influx of special education students coming next year, and the training that is necessary for our staff for that, we will not have very much time going into next year to get that training. So, and that will come no cost to the district for that training. That will be done by our school psychologist, Mr. Don Duranzo, and also with conversation with Linda Lowe, who's filling in for Rocky Kamor. And also to train our staff with that, as well as for our staff to be together for department meetings and grade level meetings. We haven't had much time, and that will come as no cost to the district because there's no subs that are needed for them to do that. And so it's just only a change in instructional minutes by 390 minutes, which an instructional day, a full instructional day is 350. So just take and then one instructional day plus a lunchtime, and there's our difference of time. So it's just a small amount of, we're at 62,307 10 minutes with this, with the minus the 390 minutes due to the change. So we'll still be at 62,320 minutes, where the actual required minutes are 54,000 for a middle school. So we're still way over. We're still looking at doing great things at Huntington Middle School, and we will continue to do great things to stay on top of the mountain.
So Principal Topalian, this is a revision that happened after yesterday afternoon, right? Because I had a different number.
Yeah, I don't know the
yesterday.
number. I don't know the number. I had several people look at it, and I know there was questions about the number, but in case we're missing something,
Mhm.
I don't know what that could be, but that is pretty accurate. That is accurate to
Okay.
my knowledge.
Perfect.
I don't know, maybe it might be where that last day of school, because instead of finishing at 12:30, the last day of school opposed to a regular minimum day is at 12:30, but the last day of school we finished at 12. So possibly that could be where it is. And then I just kept on that report, I kept the early dismissal days for CAPS testing on a separate column on the bottom, and you can see those 4 days. And if this does get a board approved, which I'd greatly appreciate, as well as our students and our staff would, then I can communicate this to our families so they can adjust in their planning.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So since this revised minutes, is this document may affect to the ADA?
No, it will not.
Statistic, okay.
No, it will not affect our ADA. That's a great question. Thank you.
No other questions? All right. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the Huntington Middle School request for revised instructional minutes?
I'd like, so moved.
Okay. Mrs. Ryan, second, Mr. Kalaki?
Yes.
All right, roll call vote. Mrs. Ryan?
Aye.
Mrs. Chan? Aye. Mr. Chang?
Aye.
Mr. Kalaki?
Aye.
Nam Jack, aye. Student board member?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much, Principal Topalian. Always thank you so much for your enthusiasm and energy on behalf of Huntington Middle School.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as a reminder, really appreciate all of you, but my PTA president here, and she did an amazing job this year, Jackie Chang. She deserves a
does.
shout out. No, that's
Hey.
not. So I don't say a reminder because she's such an amazing individual and she does so much in our community. So thank you, Jackie. And also tomorrow's Administrative Assistance Day. So look for great things, administrative assistants.
All right.
And thank you for bringing that up, Principal Topalian, because I was going to thank you, Jackie, as well for being here. And I was also going to thank Erin Clardy, but I think she left.
Yeah, she left.
But she was here. So I really appreciate you guys attending. And I know, like I said, to Karen, every moment is scintillating, I'm sure. All right, now we're going to go to item number 14B, approval of resolution number 13 to order a biannual governing board member election for November 8th, 2002. Dr. Linda Delatorre.
Thank you, President Jack, members of the Board of Education, executive team, student board member. This evening, I am presenting resolution number 13 to the board for consideration to order biennial governing board elections. We have had several conversations with the County Office of Education and also with council and have gone back and forth. Our election in November on the 8th is just a little bit more complicated than a typical election because of the fact that we've had 2 board members be appointed to the board to fill the vacancies left by 2 board members who resigned their positions. So we have 3 terms that will be 4-year terms on November 8th and 1 2-year term on November 8th, because the term that was originally Mr. Corey Barbary's would have been coming up for a re-election in November. The term that was filled by Julie Chan Lin was just midpoint. So that's where the 2-year term comes into play. So we have spoken with the county. Our attorney concurs with the County Office of Education's statement that a candidate will have to declare whether they're running for the 4-year term or the 2-year term. So if everybody runs for the 4-year term and nobody runs for the 2-year term, then the 2-year term would remain vacant. And yes, and the board would need to appoint someone to fill that term if nobody runs for that term. So that's, I think that was unexpected because I thought that maybe, it would be the runner-up that would get the 2-year term, but according to LA County Office of Education and according to our attorneys, that is not how it works. So again, candidates would have to declare which term they are running for and go from there. So it is the school district's obligation to make that public, which is why we have added language just this afternoon on our resolution that highlights that in the under specifications of the election order. In the second paragraph, it says the purpose of the election is to submit the voters of the district the question of whether 4 members shall be elected to the governing board of the San Marino Unified School District. 3 elected board members shall hold office for a term of 4 years. 1 elected board member shall hold office for a term of 2 years.
And can I just clarify, the reason why the 2-year term is, the reason why the person who was appointed for the 2-year term is that's required by statute?
It is absolutely required by statute. Yes, that's correct.
And then I do have a question. So because there is a deadline to file, if there is no candidate running for the 2-year term, which board appoints and when?
So then there would be no contest for the 2-year term if no one declares that they're running for that term. So it would have to be the new seated board would make the decision on who to appoint to that 2-year term.
And do you know if there's a certain time period? Is it the same like 60-day kind of thing?
I don't know that, but I could certainly look into it for you and get back to you. Sure. Any other questions for me?
By the way, since you mentioned about the 2-year term definition, so but this content did not put on the paper, so right?
It's the new one.
No, it's on the new one.
Right, but the new one only said one elected board member should hold office for a term of 2 years. But it did not mention about if nobody participates.
Oh, yeah, that's just the rules, but you don't have to put that into, and we would not put that into the resolution.
So so legally that already covered. How before the election, how many resolution we will issue? Just this one, right?
Just this one.
But this one, I think the purpose for the resolution, trying to let the public understand, right?
Yes.
So
correct.
we will not have some misunderstanding. So you think they should also put less crowds? Yeah.
We're continuing the conversation with council. I'm not, I was told that we're not obligated to do anything other than what we have done, which is make public the terms that can be on the ballot. So it's up to the candidates.
So this is not a ballot. This is a resolution. But I mean, anyone interested in to participate for election, I think first of all, we look at this resolution. So this resolution means the first document for the public to know the okay, there's a election, and then the more detail. We have a 2 term. We have a 3 for 4 year and 1 for 2 year.
Correct.
So I would like to know either we need to put more detail. Yeah.
So today we had council look at this resolution and we had Allison Deegan, who is in charge of this at the LA County Office of Education. And that is what they told us to do. So if there's more information that we're required to disseminate to the public, then we will do that. We're continuing the conversation with the county and also the Registrar Recorder's Office and our legal counsel. And so if we're required to do more in terms of pushing that information out, then we will do that.
Yeah, you see, since this year I'm served for clerk So my name is.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's right. I don't blame you.
So, Mr. Chang, how about we do this, right? Because we need to get this resolution passed. And our attorneys have looked at it, but I understand what you're talking about, transparency. So, when you send out a communication to the public, perhaps you could talk about the upcoming election.
Sure.
And talk about more specifics that we were talking about if there is no.
Yes. In general
Right.
terms, right? Because we're not supposed to really get involved in the politics, but we
Right.
will talk about it in general terms.
Right, so exactly, just
Mhm.
about the process, not
Yes.
about anything else. So
Correct.
if we could just pass this resolution now, and then if you could just send out a more detailed
Yes.
description, which, may not be legally necessary, but I think to Mr. Chang's point would be very good in terms of
Yeah,
transparency.
but I wonder, is that resolution can revise or no?
Well, I think we have a time frame right now, so let's just get this passed for now, and then if we need to revise it, we'll come back with a revision.
Well, maybe I'm misunderstanding what Board Member Chang is saying. I understood his question to be, do we have time to modify this, and can it be modified at a later date? It seems like if we're passing a resolution right now, because there's a deadline to pass it, then going back and changing it after a deadline may be an issue. So is there a deadline?
I appreciate that, but yes, there is a deadline, and we do need to get this passed. Because we only had one meeting during the month of April, it's been pending. So again, our legal counsel has reviewed this and has approved it along with the County Office of Education. If we need to get more information to the public, I agree that can be done through Constant Contact. I think more people look at Constant Contact than they do the board meetings. So we would have a wider audience if we did it that way. And I'm happy to do what President Jack suggested in terms of getting that information, more detailed information out via Constant Contact.
When is the deadline?
Jennifer?
30th of April. 3 days from now.
Yes.
4 days from now.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And then in terms of the two newspapers that will be published in,
Pasadena Star News and the San Marino Tribune.
and they're just simple public notice.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, then if we don't have any question with those outstanding, and then I make a motion to approve for the resolution number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. Is there a second?
Second?
Mrs. Chan, roll call vote, Mr. Kalaki,
Aye.
Mr. Chang,
Aye.
Mrs. Chan,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Ma'am Jack, aye. Student board member?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Now we come to item number 14C, consideration of an action on certificated administrative employment contract with respect to the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Linda Delatorre.
Thank you, President Jack, members of the Board of Education, executive team, and student board member. This evening, I would like to talk about a contract that is being presented to the Board of Education to promote Dr. Lena Richter to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. It is the superintendent's responsibility to approve the position and approve the hire, and the board's responsibility to approve the contract. And with that, tonight, the board is considering the recommendation and approval of an employment agreement between the San Marino Unified School District and Dr. Lena Richter to serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Government Code Section 54953 requires the board, prior to taking final action, to provide an oral summary of a recommendation for a final action on the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of a local agency executive during the open meeting in which the final action is to be taken. Accordingly, the following is an oral summary of the employment agreement. Number one, Under the agreement, Dr. Richter shall serve as the district's Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. Number two, effective July 1st, 2021, Dr. Richter will be placed on step 6 of the management salary schedule. She will advance to step 7 effective July 1st, 2022, and continue to advance annually on July 1st until she reaches the final step of the management schedule, which is step 8. Dr. Richter will be eligible to participate in and receive the same fringe benefits available to all other certificated management employees, such as medical insurance, dental and vision insurance, and life insurance. Number 4, Dr. Richter will be provided with a $250 per month mileage allowance. If her mileage expenses exceed this amount in any month, she will be reimbursed upon providing reasonable proof of obtaining prior approval. Dr. Richter will also be entitled to reimbursement for travel outside of district boundaries and for actual and necessary expenses incurred in the performance of her official duties. Number 5, this agreement may be terminated by the board without cause at any time, in which case Dr. Richter will not be entitled to compensation, including benefits beyond 12 months from the date of termination or until the expiration of the agreement, whichever period is less. I would like to also say that Dr. Lena Richter is a highly qualified instructional leader at the district office. In many school districts, there are anywhere from 4 to 7 people who oversee the LCAP. We have a total of 1, and that is Dr. Richter. Dr. Richter is also very innovative in her approach to educational leadership. She has worked on providing comprehensive professional development to all of our teachers. She works with and holds meetings with our principals on a regular basis to address instructional issues that come up at each of the schools. She has experience as a school principal at the elementary and assistant principal at a high school in the past, which makes her exceptionally qualified to serve in this capacity. Additionally, she is taking on many large projects and future textbook adoptions we've been looking at. She is putting together committees. She has chaired the committee that adopted the iReady program to address learning loss and variability for the elementary school level, to ensure that post-COVID pandemic that we are making sure that we're meeting all of our children's needs and developing a comprehensive and personalized learning program for all students to excel and achieve. Dr. Richter works 12, 15 hours every single day. She's done that from the get-go. Her work ethic is beyond reproach. She is 100% a student advocate. She is a very highly valued member of our executive team and is exceedingly well respected in the education community. I am so very grateful to have her on my executive team. And I think she is the best thing that has happened to this district in a very, very long time. She cares about our students. She cares about their success. And no one is more deserving, in my opinion. So with that, I would like to turn it over to President Jack for handling.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services Agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Chang, any discussion? There's no discussion, a roll call vote. We'll start with Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Mrs. Chan. Aye. Mr. Chang.
Aye.
Mr. Kalaki.
Aye.
Nam Jack, aye. Student board member.
Aye.
Thank you for that scintillating moment that we always have. Anyway, on behalf of the board, Dr. Richter, I would like to thank you for everything that you have done. We echo everything that your superintendent, Dr. Delatorre, has said about you. We appreciate your recommendation. It is a wonderful one, and we are just so happy. to have you now, and I know you've done so much for us even without the specific title, but now that we are here, we are excited to say that you are our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Jack, members of the board, student board member, executive team, and Dr. Delatorre, our superintendent. It has been an absolute pleasure and honor to serve this community, to serve the board, to serve our staff, our students, our teachers, our parents, our city, partners, everyone. And even with this title, I'm going to continue to do my due diligence to serve at the best capacity possible, if not more, for this district. It's an amazing district with an amazing board, an amazing superintendent, amazing staff who always put kids first. And I'm so proud to be part of this district. Thank you very much.
And now we are at number 15, Board Superintendent discussion items.
For Ryan, would you mind extend the invitation to the 5 board member?
Yes.
For the coming
Yes.
Friday?
So this Friday at 4:30 at the Huntington Library and Botanical Garden and Research Center, we will be hosting a mixer for Asian Pacific Islander school board members and all school board members. You don't have to be from Asian Pacific Islands. And this venue is just put together just so we have an opportunity to talk with one another as well as superintendents in the area. So we have probably about 23 superintendent and board members coming. So please feel free to join us this Friday, 4:30 at the Huntington. Mr. Chang is the one that's responsible for allowing us to have the opportunity to enjoy the beautiful venue that's the Huntington Garden. So
Yeah, for our board member, so I will personally bring you to the the reception. Yeah.
Okay.
Because yeah, we are fine. It's unique. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else? No. I would like to say, I apologize, but no good deed goes unpunished, which means that we're at 8:35. I know we're ending early, but I'm going to request that we go back into closed session. So adjourn. Thank you very much at 8:35. Thank you all for attending.